Welcome to the Week 10 NFL preview of the Amateur Hour. I'm joined by Dirty Dave today again, and it's your boy John, and we are going to be talking about more NFL per usual. Quick one to give a shout out to Michael Harvey for winning the Week 9 pick'em. He was tied with four others at the top before the Monday night game. Everyone went Jets, he went Chargers. He believed in Justin Herbert, and it paid off big time.
Yeah,
I
Justin Herbert, my boy Justin, with a whopping 7 fantasy points. So if you were depending on him, he kind of screwed you. But hey, did what you need to do to win the game, which is what you got to do in the NFL. So good job,
Yep,
Justin.
I think that Chargers defense was probably the fantasy stud of that game. I think they had like 30 points in my league.
The fantasy turds of the week are the whole Jets offensive line, dude. They were just shredding them like cheese in a grater, man. They were eating him up and just killing Justin Zach Wilson, man. That poor guy.
Eaten alive, eaten alive.
You know what I want to say about that game? I don't really want to like recap too much of it because it's kind of boring to watch, to be honest. But
Terrible. That's the only whole game I watched all weekend.
yeah, it was a shit game, and I was going against. It was a tough one of those tough fantasy things. I'm in three different leagues. So one league I had Austin Eckler that I needed to win the game, and I was going against Austin Eckler that I needed to for him to not do too well for me to win the game. So it was a tough conundrum. I was watching him score two touchdowns, and I was balancing between being excited about it and being devastated about it. But anyways, what I wanted to say was one thing I want, I feel bad for Jets fans, okay? Of course I do. Someone, I'm looking at you. I feel bad for Jets fans because they're like Bears fans. They've been in this misery gauntlet for a long time. They obviously had those back-to-back AFC championship appearances, but since then, since the Rex Ryan era, they haven't really done anything. They've been a bad franchise. They are in a really tough division lately. And that's kind of how the Bears have been as well. So I do feel bad for Jets fans. Now, who I do not feel bad for and who I want to hit, I want to hear shut the hell up is those players on the Jets that are second year players in the NFL that are quote unquote frustrated with how things are going and annoyed and wanting more touches and wanting things to go better and wanting to win more games. It's like, this is the NFL. You guys have all been in the league for 2 years. This is not college anymore. This is not Ohio State, Garrett Wilson. This is Sauce Gardner with Cincinnati, going undefeated, going to the playoff, whatever. They're just so used to winning. They come to the NFL and they're on the Jets, the goddamn Jets, per Big Daddy, Big Daddy, great movie. They're on the Jets and they're expecting to win Super Bowls automatically because they got this in their head when they got Aaron Rodgers. But that was the problem. You got Aaron Rodgers. He tore his Achilles on the first drive of the season, and now you have Zach Wilson who blows. So the reality is, in this league, you have to have a good NFL to be successful and a good offensive line. You have neither right now. So yeah, you have these really good young players, but it's going to take some time to really get grooving and going to take a few more pieces to get things figured out.
I think they fumbled the ball by not getting a different quarterback. I think fans know that Zach Wilson's not the answer. I think other people around the NFL know he's not the answer. I'm sure he's a really nice guy, but I think they should have at least gotten someone else in there and had a little bit of a QB competition and practices, let Zach Wilson start the first game or two. And the immediate, as soon as he has a big shit game, which will always happen, you just throw in the other guy and hope for the best.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, like their offensive line, I think is the biggest
Yes,
problem.
I agree. That doesn't solve that. I mean, whoever it would have been running for their life, but there were
Yeah.
quite a few times where they gave him 4 seconds and he just sat there and took the sack. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Instead of just
No, I
chucking it
agree.
out of bounds.
And what did they have to lose by bringing in like competition, like you said? If you get a guy, a free agent, you pay him the veteran minimum, then whatever. If he doesn't end up even beating Zach Wilson out, then who cares? But competition, iron sharpens iron, so maybe competition would breed success and make Zach Wilson better. But like once Aaron Rodgers went down, you were like, all right, Zach Wilson, here's the keys. Good luck. Like
Yeah,
you
not,
have a
not
good team, you have an amazing defense. You have a lot of these skill players that I mentioned that are really talented, and now you got to just bring in a quarterback to see if it can make it any better. But like, what quarterback jumps out to you that would be a possible like guy that they could have acquired?
dude. Anyone, Cam Newton, Andy Dalton. I would have preferred Mike White from last year again over him.
I would have
Uh,
considered trading for Kirk Cousins.
Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston, yeah, you could have done that. Like, there's a lot of guys that would have been like, you would have been licking your chops trying to acquire him. Marcus Mariota. No, I'm
I
just kidding.
yes, actually, I would rather have him than Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I would too, but I'm
Yeah.
obviously biased. So
So I know you love him, but yeah, like you have a top 5 defense in the league. They don't have to put up many points. They just have to get you basically 3 touchdowns in a week, and you can pretty much like they would have won on if they could have scored 3 touchdowns.
I think there's a lot of backups in the NFL that I would rather have starting for my team than Zach Wilson.
I would rather have just see what that Trey Lance has that the Cowboys have as their backup that the 49ers drafted with the 3rd overall pick.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a laundry list of people.
Yeah, but then I would not rather acquire like another unproven guy or like I don't know if Trey Lance is even unproven at this point. He kind of had some opportunities and didn't do well with it. He got benched.
He didn't. He was so injured all the time. But at least with Zach Wilson, you've seen 2 years of Zach Wilson. You know what you have.
Yeah, he sucks.
Not good.
Yeah, I don't think that they give the Jets enough shit for the Zach Wilson pick. He was number 2 overall. Think of how much shit the Bears get for Mitch Trubisky, and that's only because of who went after Mitch Trubisky.
I'd rather have.
Yeah, but that's like they give the Bears so much shit because of who went after Mitch Trubisky. But the Jets, I believe, traded up for Zach Wilson and picked him number 2 overall, and he was way worse than Mitch Trubisky ever was so far, I would say.
And how long do you give these guys? I mean, did he get 2 or 3 years?
Trubisky?
No, Wilson.
Oh, this is his 3rd year.
3rd year.
3rd year, yeah.
So he got 2 full years.
Yeah.
And he got like benched last year for Mike White.
Yeah, and he was injured a little bit, I think. So Mike White played a little bit. So
and the other players were wearing Mike White t-shirts.
I think he's had plenty of opportunities to show what he has, and what he has is like he's a good backup quarterback he has like an arsenal of talents, but I don't think it bodes well for him as an NFL starting quarterback.
All right. Enough. We're going to title this
Zach Wilson,
the Zach Wilson shitting episode.
That's enough Zach Wilson.
And I'm sure this is going to be spoken all day on ESPN and NFL.
But that was just my rant. Like I woke up this morning to a text from you saying, "Are you ready to record?" And then a Twitter notification saying that Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner unhappy with the direction of the team. Like, dude, shut the hell up. Like the Bears have been in a gauntlet of misery for the last decade, so I don't care.
I'll call them up. I'll say, "Hey, gentlemen, that's the reality. One team gets to win the Super Bowl every year out of 32. You're going to lose a lot more than you win. Get used
Everyone
to
else is a loser. Yeah, that's just how life goes, and that's how it goes in the NFL. So
that's welcome to the fucking real world.
Yeah.
All right. Who's your lock of the week?
My lock of the week going forward for week 10 is going to be, it's kind of a weird one. I was looking through the slate of games. I didn't love really anything, but I'm going to go Buccaneers -1. So they had a tough game against the Houston Texans this week, but the Buccaneers offense showed a lot of promise, which they haven't all year.
Yeah, they put up a lot of points.
Usually the defense is what does well for them. So I think the defense is going to hopefully, have a chip on their shoulder now that they got shit on by a rookie, CJ Stroud. I believe he had 5 touchdowns against them, including a game-winning drive.
He's the real deal.
Like under a minute left. So they're going to go against another rookie quarterback in Will Levis this week against the Titans, and they're at home. They're a 1-point favorite. So I'm going to hope that the Buccaneers can finish, covering that spread and winning outright.
You're taking just the fact that they have a rookie.
Yeah, kind of chip, like Buccaneers chip on their shoulder, defense coming out, like hopefully, playing better this week. And the offense has showed that they can kind of score some points now. So I think, the Titans kind of struggled on Thursday Night Football against the Steelers. So now I think the Buccaneers have a good opportunity to bounce back and win.
Like it. That'll probably be a really close game, and it'll just be a last second. It'll be depending on like that Cowboys game. If they would have scored a touchdown, Cowboys cover. They don't, so they don't cover. It'll be like that.
I'm sure the Buccaneers will be up 2, and the Titans are going to kick a field goal to win by 1 at the end of the regulation.
I am going to go with the Lions on the road, 1.5-point favorites against the Chargers in Los Angeles. Chargers coming off a short week. They've beaten the Raiders and
Bears.
The Bears on Monday night, and then they just beat the Jets. So they haven't played a real offense in 3 weeks. And I think that defense is going to get annihilated. Could be a shootout game, but I'm okay giving up a 1.5 if I'm betting on the Lions.
Do you remember the last time the Lions played before their bye week against the Ravens? What their electric offense scored?
No. They had a game after that. That was not their last game.
How they did? Who did they play after that?
Jahmyr Gibbs shit on them.
Oh yeah, it was like a Raiders game or something. I think Monday Night Football.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah, they put up like 35 points or something.
All right. Yeah, you're right.
So I think I'm okay giving up a 1.5.
All right, all right. Well, it's I'm gonna go into my fantasy stud of the week just because I wanted to talk about this topic next. I'm gonna go Marquise Brown for the Cardinals. So we're gonna see how it plays out, but he is had a pretty quietly decent year, and we're getting our boy Kyler Murray back. So Kyler Murray is supposed to come back and start this weekend. He always loves throwing to Marquise Brown. The team's gonna be electrified, ready to go. Even though their team blows, I think Marquise Brown could have some maybe garbage time points, maybe a touchdown or two here and there to welcome Kyler Murray back off the IR. So
Hollywood, is that Hollywood?
yeah, Hollywood Brown, yeah,
Okay.
Stone Hands Hollywood.
Stone Hands Hollywood. I'm gonna go with a. I'm not playing him this. I'm not gonna put him in my lineup this week. So that's why I
If
think
you say Royce Freeman again, I'm gonna slap you.
no. I'm gonna say Quentin Johnston, the rookie wide receiver on the Chargers. Now I don't expect like a wide receiver 1 or 2 finish, but I think in PPR formats he might be able to score 12 or 13 points. Maybe 6 catches for like 60 yards or something.
I think Brown's got to get me 15 at least, and Johnson's got to get you 10.
Fair. Johnson has only scored 10 points once this year.
Yeah, so 10 points will give you
Okay.
a good pick.
So he should have done better this last night, but the Jets do have a great defense. So I guess I wasn't that surprised that he only had like 2 catches.
Yeah, and they weren't really throwing the ball like attacking the defense in
It
the
was
pass
very
game because
conservative
very conservative, like
because they were up.
runs, dump offs. They had
Yeah.
great field position every time they had the ball because the Jets shit the bed and fumbled a bunch of times. So
Yeah. So yeah, Quentin Johnson, 6'4". He's got Keenan Allen working. They'll double team Keenan, and Quentin's going to be hopefully open a lot. So
he's been not to shit on your pick because I like Quentin Johnson a lot. I like the Chargers. I like that draft pick that they had, but he's been a big disappointment this year. I would say like
but
going to the Chargers, being that big body, being their quote unquote number 3 receiver with those other 2 big guys, and then even better for him, Mike Williams goes down early in the season. You think, oh, it's Quentin Johnson, you're licking your chops, but I picked him in like 2 leagues and he hasn't done anything all season long.
but he's a developmental player. Like that's everyone was saying when they drafted him. He's just a raw, like athletic guy. He's not the best route runner. Like he's going to have to learn that. And he luckily gets to learn it under what a lot of people consider the best route runner in the NFL and Keenan Allen. So
Yeah.
I think, yeah, this year has been rough. I agree. But I think everyone wants immediate gratification. We had Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and Puka. There's a lot of good wide receivers that are doing phenomenal this rookie year. But the reality is some of these guys, it takes them 3 years.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's fair. But I think anytime you're a first round pick, you just have kind of high expectations. And like he is talented. He said he's raw. He is raw. I agree with you, but he's also talented. And Justin Herbert's a good quarterback. So you think like in that passing offense with Kellen Moore leading the way, like they would have more immediate success, which he hasn't had. It's like he looks to Herbert's been looking more to like Joshua Palmer, who's now on the IR, and like Jalen Guyton and like those tight ends, Parham and Everett. So the offense has been tough to predict besides Keenan Allen, like just got to 10,000 career yards. So shout out Keenan Allen.
That's the other thing about wide receivers in fantasy that people don't realize. They have to have a relationship with the quarterback so that the quarterback's looking their way. And if you look at a lot of Justin Herbert's plays after the games, Keenan's the first option, Eckler's the second option on the dump off, and then he's looking to one of the tight ends. Like Quentin's just got to practice with him more and get more in tune.
Yeah. Herbert just likes to launch to those backup wide receivers like the deep balls. So if the deep balls aren't hitting, they're not getting many fantasy points.
Yeah. They don't like the intermediate crossers over the middle.
Yeah. And rookies don't like to get smashed across the middle either. So
can you just quick recap how we did last week on our locks and our studs?
yeah, of course. So for our locks of the week last week, I had the Eagles -3 versus the Cowboys. I liked it enough to even put money on it. So the Eagles covered, but like you said, it was kind of a miracle cover. The Cowboys were very close to beating them.
You were like freaking 3 inches away from not covering on that catch, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you had the tight end that had the catch on 4th down at the goal line that they called short. So that was a swing play. Then you had Dak Prescott diving and stepping out of bounds on the 2-point conversion to go down 3, which just makes it a whole different like approach to the game. And then you have at the end of the game throwing it down to the goal line and gets tackled like right at the goal line. So
CeeDee Lamb.
that was one of those your heart was racing the entire game. That was a great game though. Great game.
There were like the last 5 minutes, the Cowboys had 3 different opportunities to cover and couldn't do it.
Great
So
game, exciting back and forth, good
yeah,
division opponent. So shout out both teams. Great game.
Dak looked good. Dak looked good.
Dak looked good, yeah.
Yep.
And then you had the Rams +3 against Green Bay. I think that was just one of your reverse psychology picks to get the Packers a win. So that
It worked.
brings our records, mine to 3-6 on the year, you to 2-6,
What
and
about
then
fantasy
our
stud?
guest is 2-5. Fantasy studs of the week, I had Deontay Johnson, who had 19 points, and you had Royce Freeman, who had 5.2. So I gave you the turd of the week, which gives you 3 consecutive turds of the week. So you gotta flush that shit down the toilet and bounce back here, John.
No, Royce had 3.2.
Yeah, I just looked up one of my leagues, and that is the scoring format. So
What do you get extra points for carrying the ball?
I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea. It's an Alex Allball league, so you know how things are.
I wish I would, dude. If I would have gotten 5.2 from Royce Freeman, I would have won it this week.
He probably got 2 points just for being a former Oregon Duck.
Good for him. Do you want
Yeah,
to get in?
Royce Freeman, you might not know this, and this is a really cool stat. Fun fact, maybe you get this question at trivia one night. So Royce Freeman has the most points scored in Oregon Duck history. So those prolific offenses, all those great players through the years, he has the most points scored in Oregon Duck football history.
Oh,
Unfortunately, our turd of a kicker is coming very close to beating him and taking over that prize because he's been our kicker for 5 years. So
get him out.
that is going to be really unfortunate. Yeah, I hate to say it, but no, I'm not going to say it because we need him to have a successful year. So I'm not going to say it, but
Hmm.
I don't want him to pass. So let's start going for 2 2 point conversions and
Good
fourth
point.
down fourth down conversions. Oregon.
Um, do you want to get into your future? How we're looking? How the drafts might shape up?
Yeah. Thanks. We're a little over the halfway point of the season now. I think we're at the halfway point of the season. So just finished week 9. Um,
So
and let me see. You disabled me to share my screen. That's okay. We don't have to talk. Well, I don't have to share my screen, but we'll just
wait, hang on. Multiple. There we go. See if you can do it now.
okay, I think that's working. Hold on. Bear with me.
Okay, while you're doing that, let me say I'm gonna put out there my 5 worst teams in the NFL right now, who all are in the running, in my opinion, for the first overall pick. Here we go. Panthers, but they don't own their pick, right? The Bears do.
All right, this isn't gonna work. So just can you pull it up, please? It says I
Yes.
need to quit the Zoom in order to change my system preferences. I don't want to do that. We're in the middle of recording. Just go to Google NFL Tankathon or tankathon.com.
That is effed up, Dave.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
effed up that you just
you shouldn't
dropped this on me.
you have prohibited me from sharing my screen.
Okay, now let me finish my thought. So
All
the
right, yeah. Go ahead.
five
Because
worst teams.
I was focusing on the Zoom, so I couldn't focus.
Yeah, classic. 5 worst teams.
Thank you. That's perfect.
Okay, this is my five. I would put the Packers in the 5 worst teams. But I would agree with Giants, Bears, Carolina, Cardinals, and then I'd put the Packers as the 5th worst. Even though they got to win this week, I think they played some dud backup quarterback.
So basically what I wanted to talk about was who do you this is where we stand now. Now, how do you think this changes amongst the top 5 once the NFL draft is actually approaching like the end of the season? How do you think this top 5 lays out?
I think that Carolina ends up last. I think Arizona, when they get Kyler back, they'll win a couple. They have 8 games left. I think they can win half of those. Um, Chicago, I think, will be second. No, Chicago will be third to last. I think the Giants will be second to last. New
You
England will
have
be fourth to last, and then the Packers will be fifth.
so you have Carolina, which is the Bears pick. Then you have
Giants,
Giants. Then you
Bears.
have Bears.
Then I go, um, hang on, Carolina, Giants, Bears, New England, Green Bay.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Do you think if
then,
New England is amongst the top 5, they try to pick a quarterback? Or do they believe in Mac Jones?
yes, I think they do. And I think the Packers probably should think about it as well. not to hate on my boy Jordan Love, but just as a nice backup option. But they will. I would willing to bet anyone any money that they draft like a defensive lineman with the fifth
De-
pick.
Defensive lineman, you think that's their need right now?
That's what they do every effing. It doesn't matter what their need is. That's what they do every year.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, maybe Jared Verse or something like an edge rusher. They just re-signed Rashawn Gary though, right?
They did for a big one. So these are the
So
overall rankings.
so I saw this mock draft the other day, which I thought was kind of crazy. It was like the Rams were like the sixth pick, and they took Bo Nix in this mock draft, which I think is a huge reach. I love Bo Nix. I'm an Oregon Duck diehard fan, but I don't know how well it's going to translate to the NFL. And I would definitely take him like maybe in the second or third round or fourth round, but I would not take him in the first round, top 10 pick. That's crazy.
Damn, I didn't know.
Um,
I was not aware of this Kool-Aid McKinstry guy.
yeah, Kool-Aid is a very solid corner for Alabama. He's going to go top 10 for sure.
I think send him to the Jets so it's sauce and Kool-Aid on
Yeah,
each
Saucy
side.
Kool-Aid would be pretty sweet. That'd be sweet combo, lethal combo in the
Yo,
secondary.
dude.
I think I kind of agree with you, but I think the Giants are going to have the number one overall pick. Unfortunately, Daniel Jones
Ooh.
went down in the game this week, tore his ACL, so that's a really sad. I don't think they're going to win another game, so they have 2 wins. So that's going to be the marker for the other teams. Are they going to get more than 2 wins? I think it's going to be kind of like last year where the Bears and the Texans both had 3 wins, I think, but the Bears had the tiebreaker. So I think like the Giants and maybe the Panthers and maybe even the Bears are going to have like 3 picks or 2 or 3 wins, and then it's going to just come down to like tiebreakers.
And then Lovie Smith gave that middle finger to management, won that game, that last
The
game.
the
Remember?
funniest thing the NFL could have done and what the Bears organization could have done is hire Lovie Smith immediately after that happened to replace Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus needs to be fired effective immediately, but at the end of the season, without a doubt. And if he's not, I'm going to lose a lot of faith in the Bears, which I have very minimal faith left. So,
That's the best coach you guys have had in the past 20 years, probably.
oh yeah, Lovey, dude. All the players love Lovey Smith. They're all pissed when he got rid of him, and the Bears haven't been the same since. He was a huge players coach. I know, like as a fan, I was frustrated watching him because he's emotionless. And my dad hated him because he has no emotions. Like he stands on the sideline so stone faced. Like I want to see a coach like get into it and get excited. Like I mean, you look at Bill Belichick, probably the best coach of all time. He's pretty stone faced,
I,
but
I don't think you can say that
you can't really
anymore.
compare the two.
Dude, you can't. After Tom Brady left, they've been absolutely garbage, hot garbage.
Yeah, but he has Mac Jones. Let's maybe give him an opportunity to get another quarterback and see how he does. But
I
Mac Jones is hot ass, and you know
but
that.
Belichick coaches the defense, and the defense hasn't even been that good the past couple years.
It's been pretty good. It's probably been amongst the top 10.
No, I think after the Bill Belichick as one of the best coaches theory was disproved after Brady left, and they haven't even have they got to the playoffs maybe once.
I mean, I think he is the best coach of all time. He has 6 Super Bowls, does he not? Whether you have Tom Brady or not, you have
He
six
had the
Super
best
Bowls, and
quarter.
a
He,
lot of those early Super Bowls. I'm a huge Tom Brady guy. I love Tom Brady, but a lot of those early Super Bowls were because of the defense.
hmm.
You just have kind of recency bias of like the 28-3 when they came back against the Falcons and they were scoring all those points. Remember, just even recently the Rams Super Bowl, it was like 10-3 was the final score. If your defense goes out there and holds like one of the most prolific offenses in the NFL, the Rams, to 3 points in the Super Bowl or whatever they had, 6 or something like that, like that's super impressive. The greatest show on turf back in the day with Kurt Warner and Troy Holt and those guys, Marshall Falk, they won the Super Bowl against them because of the defense. Like you have this recency disappointment. I think I agree with you. I think he should have retired a couple years ago. Like if I was him, I would have retired like right after Tom Brady left and just been like, then no one could ever say like how he did without Tom Brady. It was just how he did, period. So now without Tom Brady in the Mac Jones era, it's his I agree his legacy is declining slightly, but I still think he's the best of all time. I mean, who do you put up there? Don Shula, Andy Reid. Who
I
else is up
personally
there
would
for you?
rather have Andy Reid.
But maybe that's a recency thing. Andy Reid has Patrick Mahomes, probably the most talented quarterback of all time.
No, that's Aaron Rodgers.
So yeah, I mean, both of them are up there, but Patrick Mahomes has another like 10 years in his career, and they're already like pretty neck and neck. You know, it's like Patrick Mahomes is a freak. So, like, if you're going to argue that about Bill Belichick, then you definitely have to argue that about Pat Mahomes
Freaking the
or about
sheets.
Andy Reid.
Andy Reid had Alex Smith and brought him to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, fair, but Alex Smith was also a pretty decent quarterback in the NFL. I'd take Alex Smith over Mac Jones any day of the week.
I don't think it's close. I think it's closer than you want to
And
admit.
then in Philadelphia, he had Donovan McNabb, he had Michael Vick, like he had good quarterbacks in Philadelphia as well, and good teams in Philadelphia.
All right, I will agree to disagree, but I think Bill
Maybe we
Belichick.
just say greatest coach of all time, Matt Nagy.
There we go. We'll leave it at that. Um, so if do you believe the Bears will take a quarterback?
I think the Bears are going to take a quarterback. Yes.
Okay.
So it's going to be
Who do you like?
it's going to be a matter of Caleb Williams or Drake May. I don't think any other quarterback is in the discussion. So it's going to be a matter of who they like going forward for the rest of the season. I think Caleb Williams' draft stock has been declining a little bit while Drake Mays has been increasing slightly. And I am worried that the Bears are going to have some interviews in the offseason and they're going to like Drake May a lot more in the interviews than they do
No.
Caleb Williams. And they're going to end up picking Drake May, which makes me very terrified of Caleb Williams becoming the next Patrick Mahomes. I'm not as high on Caleb Williams as other people are, but that just goes to show that like I'm sitting in an apartment in Papillion, Nebraska, and these guys are working for the NFL and the ESPN. They definitely know more than I do. So Caleb Williams is the clear pick. If it doesn't work out,
Yes.
so what? Like you picked who everyone else would have picked. So if you go the opposite direction and it doesn't work out, I mean, you're putting your franchise through another 10, 15 years of turmoil hell. So you have to pick Caleb Williams if you're going to pick a quarterback.
Yeah, and I think so I just have to say I really got into because of Dynasty football, like looking at the rookies from last year. And do you remember who my favorite quarterback was before the draft even took place?
I mean, you keep saying CJ Stroud, but I was high on CJ
Yes.
Stroud before you were high on CJ
Thank you.
Stroud. So watch
Yes.
the tapes
No.
back. So
CJ
you probably were fond of CJ Stroud because of how much I talked about CJ Stroud.
No. I the whole time everyone was like, "Oh, I think I like Bryce Young better."
No.
But the entire time I like CJ Stroud because he's an accurate intermediate passer and he's just I know he's had the greatest receivers probably ever, but he's still I mean balled out, played in the big time. And now he's showing that. He's showing you that with the Texans that he's a great quarterback. And so I think it's no question. I think you go Caleb Williams over Drake May. I think yes, he's had maybe not great games, but wasn't that Washington game close as hell?
52-42. Yeah. It was a shootout. Yeah.
Yeah.
Caleb
So
Williams has like a one of the worst defenses in the Power Five.
right.
So like
So
it's not really his fault that they lose all these close games. Like he's scoring a lot of points and has 28 touchdowns and 4 picks. I mean, with a 70% completion percentage.
yeah, what do
He's
you
a
want?
freak. He's a freak talent. Like you have to pick him number one overall. And if you don't, like which it just John, it would not surprise me. It's the Bears.
They talk to Drake May, he drives a shit car and they love him and they drive
Right.
him.
Like this is like I've heard Drake May on a podcast. He's an amazing guy. Like
Oh
they're gonna
no.
love him. They're gonna be licking their chops when they interview Drake May, and it's gonna just
Oh.
it's Deshaun Watson, Mitch Trubisky all over again.
But
Mitch
there's a lot
Trubisky.
of there's a lot of first round quarterbacks.
Yeah, there are. There's a lot. And it's a really deep quarterback draft. I've been looking at go scroll up to the big board. One thing that blows my mind, you know who my dark horse to have a really good NFL career is Sam Hartman for Notre Dame. He's kind of struggled this year, so he's fallen off a little bit. Like their team has struggled a little bit, but he is a perfect like NFL quarterback body. He's got like the Justin Herbert type body. He's got a freak arm. He's accurate. He's composed in the pocket. He can move a little bit. He can run. If you click on these quarterback rankings, he's not even in there. They don't even rank him amongst these guys. So like I think he's my dark horse to have. Maybe not. Like I would put him at like my number maybe 4 prospect behind Michael Penix Jr. That's where I'd put him right now, and not maybe for sure. That's where I would put him. So I'd put Caleb Williams, Drake May, Michael Penix, Sam Hartman, and then maybe I would put like Quinn Ewers above JJ McCarthy. I don't think JJ McCarthy is that good, to be honest. I mean,
No.
18 touchdowns, 3 picks. Like, give me a break. You're gonna put him at the 4th best quarterback prospect. He's gonna be the next Mac Jones, but Mac Jones had 100 times more touchdowns than that in college. Like, was a way more prolific passer. But like they're the same kind of guy. They play on like incredible teams. and they do really well. That's like putting JJ McCarthy there to me is like putting what's his name? A Stetson Bennett there. That's like it's like equivalent to putting Stetson Bennett there. Like they're great facilitators. They do really well with good teams, but they're not these like incredible quarterback prospects. Like
What talk about this Michael Penix? I don't really know much about him.
so he's had a long career. So he's old. He's like a fifth or sixth year senior now. He played for Indiana, had a lot of injuries, so he wasn't really like highly touted. And then he transferred to Washington 2 years ago, and has been lucky enough to stay healthy. Now he's 23 and a half years old. So he's a little bit older prospect. But he's a gunslinger. He has a strong arm. He's a lefty. Makes
Ooh,
good reads. He's an accurate thrower. So it's just hard to tell, like, is it the offense with good receivers, like we kind of hinted at earlier, and what is it that makes him click? But he is a good quarterback prospect. I can't deny that at all.
I actually would love if the Packers took Shadur Sanders in the second.
Yeah, he just
I would
doesn't seem
love
like a
that.
fit for Green Bay to me. He's like a flashy player.
That's what I love, dude.
It
I
doesn't
love.
seem like he'd be riding bikes with little kids on his pegs down to training camp practice.
You don't know Shadur, man. You
You
don't know
guys,
Shadur.
you guys are like a Bo Nix, Quinn Ewers type franchise.
That is so depressing.
JJ McCarthy. You guys are a JJ McCarthy type
That
franchise.
would really upset me because I watched that one. I think I watched Michigan once or twice, and like you said, he's not bad, but he's just not like exciting. He's like
Yeah.
white rice.
Yeah. So I think going back to our draft picks, I think the Giants end up having the number one overall pick, and I think they go Caleb Williams, leaving the Bears no choice but to pick Drake May. And if that's the case, if that's how it unfolds, then so be it. But if the Bears have the number one overall pick or number two overall pick and Caleb Williams somehow falls and they don't pick him, I think that's going to be a critical mistake.
What do you think of them? What if they went? They took that offensive tackle I saw that was really highly ranked up
Like
there,
Olu Fashanu from Penn State or
and then
whatever
they
his last
went,
name is.
and then they went like Michael Penix with their like if they went quarterback with their second pick.
I think that's a reach for Michael Penix. I think that there's actually a lot of talent in this first round this year, so I think picking him up towards the front of that draft there is too much of a reach. And all this being said, like I still would probably rather have Justin Fields than anyone besides Caleb Williams at this point, just off the potential of Caleb Williams. Like I don't know, it's like almost too enticing. Like he's one of the best quarterback prospects in the last decade, easily, if not the best. So
No, Trevor Lawrence was more of a highly touted than him, wasn't he?
I mean, they're up there. They're all up there together, I think.
Yeah,
There's obviously like exciting quarterbacks almost every year of the draft, but I think Caleb Williams has been like highly touted ever since he was like a freshman and took over for the starting quarterback position at Oklahoma. So there's a lot of talent towards like the top 10 of the draft. So I'm glad that we had that trade with Carolina. I mean, both teams suck, Carolina and the Bears. So they're gonna have two good like players either way. Marvin Harrison Jr. would be an awesome addition to the team with DJ Moore on the other side of the ball. They do need help on the offensive line. So Olu Fashanu would be nice if you can go forward, like believing in Justin Fields and backing Justin Fields. But with his expiring contract and needing to be extended soon, it's going to be tough for them to like stick with Fields.
you're giving up on your boy already.
I'm never giving up on him. I believe him, but I am just trying to see how the season is going to unfold and how the franchise is going to move forward because I mean, I don't think we're a quarterback away, and I think Justin Fields could be the answer at quarterback. We have way more pieces that we need to fill in before you can blame Fields, that's for sure. But he
I
needs to
agree.
get back healthy either way and start at least going out there and putting up stats like he was before. So if the Bears do want to trade him, they can get a better, draft pick for him.
All right, quick. What is Justin Fields worth? What can they get for him if they trade him?
At
30
like at
seconds.
this current moment,
Yes.
I think that he at least deserves a second round pick. I would expect like a second and a fourth or fifth for him right now. And I
I
think he
agree.
can play himself into a first round pick.
I agree. I think first might be a little high, but early second, I could see.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now. Right now. I think, like I said, he can play himself into a first for sure.
All right, time's up. Quick. Who's your who's your favorite fantasy wide receiver? Who has the best chance of being the number one besides Tyreek Hill the rest of the season in fantasy football PPR formats? 20 seconds.
I think I'm gonna have to go CD Lamb. The Cowboys have been slinging the ball a lot lately. Dak Prescott's been playing a little bit better. They throw to CD Lamb all the time. So I think if I have to pick one guy, besides like a Justin Jefferson, I think that's an easy pick. But he has obviously quarterback troubles there. So I'm gonna go CD Lamb with the Cowboys.
I'm going to take a sleeper. I'm going to go Keenan Allen.
Okay. Keenan Allen gets a ton of volume, so I love that. I like that pick.
Running back. Who has the best chance of being number one running back besides Christian McCaffrey?
I'm gonna go with my boy Travis Etienne. I have him in
Ooh,
fantasy this year. I picked him in the third round, so it was like the steal of the draft. He's had a really good season so far. I think that continues. He gets a lot of volume running the ball, and he gets a lot of volume with those dump off passes and like halfback screens. So I'm gonna go with Travis Etienne finishing running back one behind Christian McCaffrey.
wow. I'm going to say Joe Mixon. I
Joe
think that
Mixon.
the passing game on the Bengals gets better, and that opens up the running game because it won't be, what do they call it? Fill in the box. What do they do at the box?
Yeah, they fill the box.
Fill in the box. So Joe Mixon will have a little bit more running room.
They
So
fill the box with a lot of guys, a lot of dudes.
does it actually fill the box?
Yeah, they fill the box. Yeah,
Is
put
it,
eight
or you
men.
just
Put no, they put 8 men in the box. Put 7 men in the box. Yeah, you fill the box. You try to stop the run, you fill the box. And then the offense tries to penetrate the holes, once the defense tries to fill the box.
is that actually what it is?
Yeah, why would I joke about that?
Because I think you're being sarcastic.
No, I'm not being sarcastic at all.
Okay. All right. We got about 30 seconds, Dave. Last minute thoughts. Send us off in style.
Yeah, thanks all for listening. This has been another incredible episode of the Amateur Hour podcast. This is the week 10 preview,
Incredible.
the week 9 recap. So hopefully you all gained a little bit of knowledge from watching this episode or listening to this episode. Hope you all had as much fun as we did.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Uh, fuck.
I think you're still sharing.
There we go.